especially after what we've all been through this crazy election season and just 2020 in general. And I had the chance to catch up to a man who has quite a story. In 1940, he felt like he had gone through a rough patch. And he says he suffered some bad luck until he met the woman, the angel who changed it all. And he wrote a book about it. So I admire anyone who writes books. You know, you've heard me talk about that before. But his book is called The True Life Story of Dallas and Marie Tillman. And he talks about how they met and what happened in between. So Dallas Tillman, give us a story about love and tell us about your Marie.
Marie and I met in San Francisco in 1962. I was an encyclopedia salesman with the Book of Knowledge. And I met a guy. I was on my way to Hollywood. I had a Greyhound bus ticket going my way from Fairfield to Hollywood to do a song, what do you call it, audition. Mm-hmm. For a singing audition. I was had a group, singing group, but I was going single. I was going to Hollywood to try to get an audition for myself. And the guy was in the restroom upstairs at Greyhound bus depot. He said, Dallas, he didn't know my name. He said, man, you look pretty sharp. He said, do you want a job? And we both sat in there using the restroom. I said, yeah, I want a job. I hadn't been off the bus 10 minutes. And the man asked me, do I want a job? And I said, yeah, I want a job. And he knew, I guess he could see I needed a job. So I was on my way. Actually, where I was going to Hollywood. He definitely he knew I needed a job. So what I did was I said, listen. He said, listen, meet me tomorrow morning across the street at the restaurant. We had breakfast. So okay, I met him there, and he took me out 2 days later to meet all of the relatives. All of his staff had about 20 people, supervisors, book salesmen rather, and they said. All had cars. I didn't have no car. I had to get my appointment the best way I can. But anyway, after that, I started selling books, and I met Marie. I says she came to the door. I asked her, this lady did. I says, would you like to buy a book of knowledge, encyclopedias? I said, I'm selling them. And she says, no, come back next week. And I said, okay, I come back next week. And I'll tell you, when she came to the door, I hadn't seen such a beautiful lady with gold pants on. Gold pants, such a beautiful lady. I looked like a rose, like a real rose, a flower, you know. And I had yellow. These were yellow pants on. I said, my God. Then I came back the next week, and she says, come on in. We talked and talked and talked and talked. Then she introduced me to her sister. Lo and behold, her sister was 7 feet tall, 6 feet tall, and she looked just like us. They was almost like twins, lady. Almost like twins. I never seen such two beautiful ladies in all my life. Not here on this earth. And I said, Lord, have mercy. What have I got myself into? And I always thought I was on a mission. You know, like I guess you call it not an army mission, but a kind of like a religious mission. That's what I thought it was, because things was happening to me so fast, you know. And I says, oh my God, this too? And I had to deal with it. And next week I came back, and she says, yes, come on in. And we sat down and talked and talked and talked. Then she got up and said, well, it's time for me to go now. It's just time for me to go. And as we were going out of the door, she and I voice started lowering, just like voices lowers on the telephones and things like that. Both voices lowered at the same time, and then she leaned up against the wall, and I kissed her. I saw stars. I saw stars. I said, oh my God, I don't even know this woman. She's married. I don't even know her. and just meeting her, trying to sell the encyclopedia. I said, what have I got myself into? Marie was the kind of woman that was like a nun. I was talking to another man today, and he says, I knew her. He said, I knew her. Marie, she was very respected by all people. I said, you're right, man. She was respected by everybody. This is the wife, the lady that I met. And I couldn't help it. I said, well, I'll fight for her. I said, this is what I want. And she wanted we fought, and then things worked out. But anyway, to make a long story short, it was a beautiful life, 53 years and 8 months. And I would tell anybody, especially the young people, live together at least 6 months or a year to get to know your partner. Live together for 6 months or a year or more to get to know your partner. Know his rules, her rules. Then you will have a successful marriage.
Wow. And 53 years and 8 months, that is incredible. Anybody who gets to that 50-year mark, to me. And again, it's an interesting story, Dallas and Marie Tillman, the life story of them. And you can pick that up on Amazon. 1940, he was born. Grew up in Mississippi, gardening, farming, raising cotton, corn, sweet tomatoes, all that kind of stuff. Then ended up, when the family ended up moving to San Francisco, and you heard him talk about the encyclopedias and how he met his wife, and then what you go through in your married life, and starting off with, two nickels that you could barely rub together. So I thought we needed a little love story, and this is a very, very good love story. I love his advice at the end, because we see that divorce rates have spiked in the U.S. during the coronavirus pandemic. Couples stuck at home for months. The number of people looking for divorces was 34% higher from March through June compared to 2019. This is according to new data that's been collected by Legal Templates. That's a company that provides legal documents. And they say it's the combination of stress, unemployment, financial strain, death of loved ones, illness, homeschooling, children, mental illnesses, and just put massive strain on relationships. That this data shows that 31% of the couples admitted lockdown has caused irreparable damage. Wow, that's horrible. Irreparable damage to their relationships. Imagine that. And those that are interested in separating, during the quarantine, peaked almost in the beginning, a month or so into this. And there seems to be an uptick. There are others that are denying that. There are others that say, people are saying their offices are flooded with calls and they're not buying it. But it's interesting that the information that I got showed that states along the Bible Belt recorded the highest number of divorce rates during the COVID-19 pandemic, including Arkansas and Alabama. The number of life insurance policies and payouts required in divorce settlements soared as well. So stay tuned for that, right? Listen, I bet you newlyweds, it would have to be. 20% of the couples who sought divorce were married within the past 5 months or less, compared to just 11% in 2019, doubling the rate. And that makes sense to me, right? Because now all of a sudden you're in this lockdown situation. That's why the Tillmans, boy, that's what you want. If you can get 50, well, first of all, if there's enough time, if you can get to that 50-year mark, that's something else. All right, the band is saying that I got to dance off this stage. Thanks to all of you for listening to this hour of the show. Make it count, everybody.